Companies these days love to say they're laying off people because of AI. Amazon, software firms, media companies, thousands of cuts in early 2026, all packaged as AI-driven efficiency and modernization. But if you look at the data, the revolution isn't that AI is suddenly amazing at everything. It's that we've quietly slid into a good enough economy. Oxford Economics found that only 4 to 5% of reported US job cuts in 2025 were actually attributed to AI. Yale economists say that there's no massive AI shock visible in the overall labor data yet. Some sectors are getting hammered, but for the most economy, AI is just an excuse than a cause. In other words, a lot of CEOs are using AI as a story to explain something simpler. They want to cut costs, and the robots did it sounds better to investors than we overhired and missed our numbers. Here's where it gets dangerous. You don't need AI to be perfect to replace people. You just need it to be cheap and good enough. In a good enough economy, a bot that handles 70% of customer questions badly is still a win if it lets you fire half the call center. A language model that writes mediocre marketing copy is fine if it means you can shrink the content team and still flood the internet. The bar isn't, is this better than a skilled human? It's, is this barely passable and a lot cheaper? And maybe that's why productivity growth isn't actually exploding even as AI layoffs spike. One analyst called it the AI layoff paradox. Companies are cutting workers and blaming AI, but overall output per worker isn't soaring. We're not getting a supercharged economy, we're getting a cost-cut, watered-down one. So what do you do if you're the person whose job might be on the line? If the middle is getting hollowed out, if average tasks are the ones most vulnerable, the safest place to stand is as far away from average as possible. The only real hedge against the good enough economy is to be clearly, visibly excellent at what you do in ways that AI can't easily copy. This doesn't mean be a genius or you're doomed. It means build depth, not just speed. Know the why behind your work, not just the steps. Become the person who can handle the messy, cross-functional, political problems, not just the checklist. Add human value where machines are weakest. Trust, judgment, storytelling, relationships, taste. Executives and consultants love to say, AI will take away the boring parts of your job so that you can focus on the higher value tasks. But they rarely define higher value. In practice, higher value is the part where you're irreplaceable. And most people never get explicit about what that actually is. The good enough economy punishes quiet competence. If you do a solid but invisible job in the middle of the org chart, you're the easiest line to delete and blame an automation. The people who survive are the ones whose absence would be obviously painful to their team or their clients. So AI is going to handle more and more of the low-stakes, repetitive, pattern-based tasks. That's real. Some niches really are getting eaten alive by automation. But the story of 2026 isn't that robots took all the jobs overnight. It's that companies discovered they could swap out a lot of pretty good human work for good enough AI work, and Wall Street would applaud. In that world, protecting your job isn't about pretending AI isn't coming. It's making sure that when your boss looks at your list of tasks and thinks, what could an AI model do? Your name isn't the first thing that comes to mind.